He's in a hurry or what? Good morning, good afternoon.
Call to order.
Pledge of allegiance.
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Could we have roll call?
Yes, Lois Tiley. Here. Diana Coots.
Here.
Christine Newman.
Here.
Richard Warner.
Here.
Jim McPhail.
Here.
Diane Dennis. Here. And Sarah Tiley. Here.
Everybody got a copy of the agenda? Is the agenda accepted as presented, or do we have some changes? No changes? Motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Make the motion.
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Spicer Engineering.
Well, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Is this on?
Hit that button one more time, if it's green.
You broke it, John.
Probably. So, anyways, Happy New Year. Hope everyone had good holidays. You think you have a copy of my report that we sent? Okay. In addition to the report, I have a couple copies of your reliability study, water system reliability study and general plan. It talks about all of the improvements that we've already talked about at our past meetings. This is also your preliminary engineering report for the USDA application. So these, I've got two copies, one for Hart, one for Don. And with the council's approval, we're also gonna send it to Department of, well, it's Eagle now, but DEQ. So they have it on file. It's something that's required by them, so, you know, with your approval, we'll go ahead and get it sent out, and I think we're in good shape to proceed with the water system improvements. So I'm gonna leave these with Don for now.
Do we have to give them our approval?
I don't know, are you asking for our approval?
Um,
I mean, does it have to be a motion?
It
or-
does not have to be a motion
Okay.
or anything. I mean, it's something that we've worked on. It's something you're already
We paid for it,
aware
so
of.
we need
You
to turn it
paid
in.
for it, we need to turn it in. Yep.
Yeah.
John, would you see the one got sent to Eagle?
The what?
Would you see the one get sent to Eagle?
Yes, I will do that. It's official. I also have a set of plans here for the Fulton and Hosmer water main improvements. I had Don sign the Eagle permits. We're gonna get that sent out for permitting. I would think, let's see, it's January, February. I would say we would have a contract award at the March meeting. So we will bid this, end of January into February, have a March award, and then construction would be when the weather clears in the spring.
Now, is that just the water?
This is just water.
Doesn't
or-
include the street?
It does not include any streets, except for where the water main is crossing a few of the streets. We are gonna be patching up over top of, where the road will be disturbed. The water main's gonna be in the green belt areas, so we're not gonna be tearing up a lot of the road.
Okay.
Gonna be back in the green belt, so where the road is damaged, it will get repaired with asphalt. If we get the scrap tire grant, then we'll be looking at asphalting the entire roads. We'll mill it off and put down fresh asphalt over all the roads there.
Did we talk about paving those roads there instead? Just finishing them off so they look good?
We have not.
We've
Um,
not.
No, we talked about that as a part of the scrap tire grant.
Yep,
So in the event that we did not get the scrap tire grant, we were just gonna do the patches where we disturb. If you would like to do something different, we certainly can. My suggestion would be, let's get bids on the water main first, see how prices come back.
okay.
And then we can see,
We do have a street fund now
Yep.
too. And I'd hate to leave that place looking
Yep.
like a,
Yeah, I don't wanna leave that, but I don't wanna do anything until we
no, but when is the
Until
tire
we know
grant? When do we
exactly
know?
what we have to
February, we
fix.
should know.
Oh, in
Yeah.
February we'll know. Okay.
well,
March.
That's what they told us, is
Right.
February we should know.
But they meant June?
Exactly. You know, last year, they did not give any scrap tire grants for paving. They were all for manufacturing equipment,
Do they let you know if they're not going to?
eventually.
Okay.
Usually afterwards.
Right, so I think last year they announced it in June, so.
See, I was not far off.
Right.
Okay.
You know, they said they were gonna announce it in February, but again, I'm not really holding my breath. You know, they kinda run a strange program.
Okay.
So my recommendation would be, let's get bids for the water main, you know, with the patches.
Well, we need to do that anyway,
Yep.
but I just,
Exactly, and let's, you know, see how bids come back, and if paving those streets looks like something that we wanna do, and it's affordable, by all means, that would be the time to do it.
you all know what will happen if we don't pay.
Well, it's gotta be fixed no matter what.
Yeah.
But I would hate to do it and then get the grant.
Yeah, I understand where you're
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
from, yep.
I
And
mean,
I just like it to
I
be in
wanna
the
do
plan
it.
that we're
Yeah.
gonna walk away from that, leaving
Yep.
it done.
No, I want that done.
Mhm.
No, I agree.
Why don't we, in the next month, I can work with Hart and Don, and we can come up with a contingency plan?
Yeah, because
For
that
paving
is
those
actually
streets?
one of the streets we did not pave,
Yeah.
when we paved all
Yep.
the streets, and we still owe them
Yep.
if we pave.
And we've already put an
So,
estimate together
kinda,
for
you know, I mean, we should kind of follow
Yeah.
that.
So we've already put the estimate together, so we have a pretty good idea of what it should cost, because that was part of the grant application.
Okay,
So in the next month, why don't we work with Hart and Don, and we'll come up with a contingency plan and bring something to you next meeting.
you guys agree?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. We can certainly do that.
Okay,
We have a meeting on the 29th, so.
We have a meeting on the
We'll
29th.
do it then.
Yep, we scheduled a monthly progress meeting that Hart and I are gonna be get together, and Don and whoever else.
okay.
So, do you have any other questions for me on the report?
With all this water, the high water,
Uh-huh.
is that anything that we have to concern when we were talking about the lagoons? And the gates? I mean, is that anything at all that's gonna affect?
It shouldn't affect it, you know, when you discharge in the spring, I don't think you've had an issue with that in the past, have you? Cause they discharge every spring, and
Yeah.
the water's usually higher.
Well, I know, like, with the amount of rains that we've been getting,
Right.
when it rains, we get a lot.
Yep,
And that's happening across the country, and
and the ground is saturated.
I was just wondering, we were talking about the size of the lagoons, and
Yep.
are they still within our range, I mean, for that?
I don't think you've had any problems.
Not so far we
Yep.
haven't.
All right.
I think that pump stations are.
I seen that, it was a question in one of the magazines,
Yeah,
towns they're starting to have to consider
yep,
their discharge and the size of their lagoons. Yeah.
I think our hope was as we fix some of the infiltration, we would gain on it without having to.
absolutely, and right now, you don't have an issue, so.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the lagoons actually were sized properly, you know, 20, 30 years ago, so you had a little bit of extra capacity, and I think they've been performing pretty well.
All right.
Some of the structures are probably more.
Yeah, the structures are bad.
Okay.
If there's no other questions,
Thank you, John.
I'm gonna get out of here.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Moving on, announcement and public comments. Anybody got an issue or? Guess not. Council minutes approval for December 11th. Anybody have any?
I'm gonna point out a couple typos because of the fact that this does get to be an official document in some cases. On the first page, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs down. It said, as far as to dates to be met on the village waster system. I'm sure that's supposed to be wastewater.
Yep,
Now, that we don't want a village waster system.
right.
And then on the back page, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs down, where you're talking about the new renter at the Goodrich Building, I think you need to put, be the third sentence down, and will antiques, she'll offer antiques or sell something else in there, okay?
Yep.
Just to explain it. There's a reason they get so picky about that stuff. You know, I used to work for a lawyer, and lawyers will argue for days over what does something mean,
Yeah.
right? And so we keep that down as much as we can.
Oh, definitely.
Any other changes or corrections? Motion to accept as corrected?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, as amended.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Alright,
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Communications, a letter to the editor.
Yep, this is just a letter from Mike Goshka commending one of our police officers. Very pleased, called in prior to writing the letter.
That was very nice.
Yep. John, you wanna talk to it at all, other than I put it in the post, on the board back, and she was very excited to see it.
Can't sing her praises enough.
She gets a lot of good reports.
Yeah.
from the community.
Yeah, I can't either.
Everybody loves her.
My granddaughter had an accident last night on the corner of Walnut, and she was wonderful to her. I mean, just tried to calm her down. A little impossible, but she tried to calm her down, so. My daughter and husband said she was fantastic, so tell her thank you.
Any other comments on that? Got another letter to the editor. How come we got two here?
This came in after the fact.
One's a haunted house, or haunted
Oh,
house, yeah,
okay.
the Christmas.
Anything on the Christmas one? Comments or anything?
No, it was just a nice letter from the Old Fashioned Christmas Committee.
Yep. The MML information, section 2, chapter 7. Are you right?
That was just information for you to have in case anyone showed up looking for changes to the ordinance and on the process of it. It's not something we do willy-nilly or overnight, and I fully expected someone to be here to ask for a change, immediate change, and I just, for your reference. That said, it appears our ordinance and enforcement is working, as it's now court case for January 24th, and we do not comment on pending litigation, so of all the things, it appears ordinance was in place and it
Well,
was
he
working.
took the right steps.
Mm-hmm, yep.
so actually, since he's not here, there's nothing really, because we can't ask him questions or anything, so.
Nope, and again, it's set for January 24th at 2:30, pre-trial hearing, and.
Good.
Being it's in litigation anyway, there isn't much we can ask.
Yeah.
Well, unless he wants to talk about it.
Yep.
That's good.
And there is a copy of the Butco letter there, if you want to read it over. Payment of the claims,
I just have one
that's just
question.
you.
It's me again. I see in the paper, it had a nice article about giving the band money
Yes.
for the hats. That was really nice. Is that part of page 6 on the top where it says, near the top, St. Charles Music Association?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, 1,030.
Yep.
Okay, I thought that was nice. Good band teacher.
They were very surprised by the
Yep.
amount. So,
Yeah, very good.
And then on page 5 for repairs and maintenance for the $1,100, what was that for?
where are you looking at Stephen Tile?
Card number, it's page
Oh.
5,
Oh, okay.
for, it says repairs and maintenance, 1,117.
Is that for the truck?
Was it for that laser?
Pardon?
Was it for the laser?
I believe it, I'd have to look.
Isn't it, that's equipment, isn't it, 661?
Yeah, we
Yes,
bought a-
that's
we bought a
equipment.
laser.
Would they only take a credit card?
It was from Home Depot.
Yeah.
And, with having that, we'll be able to settle that issue. like,
Are you getting all-
Just Main Street to.
Are you getting all practice stuff with us, so you,
What does it do?
it's a laser
It
for
was for a
checking.
laser, yep.
To make it smooth, so it ends up smooth?
So we can tell if it's our
So it's-
problem, something we
We
need to
have to
fix.
fix
or-
So that it looks like it's
Or-
flowing downhill.
Or water.
Or dispel that it isn't what it looks like. or something.
Okay.
Yeah, it was ordered on Home
I mean,
Depot,
we can
shipped
use
to
it
us
for
the
a lot
next
of
day.
things.
Mhm.
Good price.
I'm
Is it like
surprised we
a-
didn't have one.
A sextant type laser?
They have the old trains, that's all they had.
Is it like a transit? Is that what it
It
is?
sits on a tripod and it shoots a laser up to 1,100 feet long as you got a receiver.
Did you get a regular
Yeah,
rotating
it's a
beacon?
rotating beacon.
That's what I've
okay.
got, yeah, that's what I've got.
Any other questions?
I mean, if it does, but that sounds well.
That, was it.
If not, I make a motion to pay the bills in the sum of $108,220.22.
Support?
I'll support it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Pay the bills. New business. Personnel Policy Manual. First issue is compensatory time.
So there's been some discrepancies in how things have been done in the past. So we've been running into problems of past practice versus best practice, and one manager did it this way, another manager did it that way, and we weren't on the same page. So this is just to clarify some of our issues with comp time, call-in pay, et cetera. There's nothing written in the new personnel manual from 2018. So I was hoping to add this language so that everybody knew going forward, this is what is expected, this is what you'll receive, so there's no questions. Helping the treasurer, helping DPW understand on all fronts.
So this is not a change, this is just something to be inserted.
It's a clarification.
Yeah.
Okay. I had one question down on calling pay.
Yes.
Okay, it says they get $100, where do I see that?
Down in the last paragraph.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
for the
no,
phone,
okay,
that's for the
okay,
phone.
no, that's for the phone. Oh, no, on the calling pay, it was, the very last sentence, the provisions of this, section do not apply, blah, 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 blah. So that means if somebody's called in early and they have to work late, they don't get overtime?
So we kind of talked about this, that say it starts snowing and they're called in early
Like at 3.
at 3, unless it's drastic and still snowing at past noon, then they would receive it, but most cases, we're gonna send them home at noon.
So you'd be sending them home like at the end of
At
what?
the end of
At the end of their
8
8-hour
Yeah.
shift.
Yeah, just because you come in early doesn't mean you get overtime.
Yeah.
Okay,
And so that's why we put that there.
okay, and then on the DPW phone,
Yes.
are they paid for hours that they worked in, so somebody has the phone and,
It's $40 a week, and it's been that way for.
No, we paid $100 a
Well,
week.
this is to change it.
Okay,
This is to change, and this could even be a discussion for budget time as well. It's been $40 a week for, I'd like to say, at least,
and that's a weekend pay, isn't it?
it's
Is
a
it at
weekend
night
pay.
too?
Yep.
No, it's a 7-day.
Is it a 7 day?
It's a
Okay.
7-day.
Just
Most
to carry
municipal-
that phone with
Yeah.
you, okay,
It's on call- You're on call for a week.
okay.
Most municipalities are weekend pay. We looked at Chesaning, they're $35 a day on the weekends. Owasso, I think, was 45, 50, and 50, not the comparable size, but try to get some other references to that.
Mhm.
Those guys are expected to be available. This clarifies, gives them a little bump, but also clarifies that you need to be in within an hour. You don't have to be sitting at home waiting for the call, but
No, but they
You
gotta
need to
stick
be-
around and they can't be drinking.
yep, and that's the catch. And so
Mhm.
this is kind of to clear that up and kind of give them a little added bonus for doing their job, but doing it well and being prepared to do
and
it.
being on call?
Yep.
Don, how do you shift this around, how many people And-
All four of us get it on a rotating schedule.
On a
So like
rotating
once
basis?
a month, kind of.
Yeah, kind of, okay,
It's, one of the disadvantages here is we only have 4 people.
right.
My friends are DPW workers in Owasso. They're having problems with people even grabbing the phone. So they're now discussing that if a problem arises, just doing nothing. And let the problem, a water main break, just let it go.
Really?
Until the citizens are ticked off enough to complain to their higher ups that someone needs to take their phone. Because people don't wanna give up their weekends or their beer drinking or their whatever you have.
And this is mandatory, right?
And right now, they're only getting $40 a
Yeah,
week?
it's been that way forever.
Wow, yeah, $100 isn't,
Yeah,
I don't
because that
have a
really
problem with that
puts a
at all.
damper
I'm
on
trying to be
life, it
fair.
really does.
yeah, I don't have a problem with $100 a week.
Stuck around that.
Yeah.
And let's say
Yeah.
they were still fighting about it in 1976, so this is,
But then again, everything
That's
is verbal too, there's nothing
Yeah,
in writing.
That's the other thing, it's all verbal.
Yeah, I know a lot of companies, on call, you're getting 200 a week,
Yep,
you know.
you know, we call them Miss Dig, or was it Miss Dig, they have 3 hours to get there,
Yep.
we're asking for an hour,
Yeah.
most municipalities.
No, $100 a week is still a good, that's a good
good for
price.
us.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, 'cause most places are just over the weekend call.
Yeah, we did do that here for a while too, it was just weekends, and then whoever was head of the DPW got
Yeah,
stuck with
that's
all
a
the
big
rest of the
sacrifice.
time.
So this is to clear up language for Marguerite when she's doing payroll, for Don and the guys when they're filling out their time cards, and so,
We used to have rules that
Make
were
sure
so
we're on the same
convoluted,
page.
it took 5 of us to figure out what it said.
So do we need to do anything for the 100, change to 100? Do we need a motion for
I
that?
would-
And we want
yes.
this accepted,
yes,
don't you?
yep.
Yeah, I'll make the motion. Is everybody else, anything else on it? I'll make the motion that we raise it from $40 to $100 on-call pay for a week.
Well, and we're approving the whole thing to clarify all 3 things,
Yeah.
right?
Are we?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'll second.
So the
Probably
motion
should
has
be
to
roll call.
cover the whole thing, yeah.
all right.
And the last thing I'll just say is it wasn't applied evenly, within the same calendar year. Some days they would do, or some pay periods, they would do this overtime and that was regular pay, and that next time it might be this was regular pay and that was overtime.
That's
And
a
so,
bad
and
practice.
so nobody
because
knew what
it's
was
around.
happening, and so there's a lot of, I'm not gonna say sour feelings but a lot of uncertainty, and where's my extra hour, where's this half hour? It just wasn't fair to the group.
Do I have support for that motion?
She was.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Change is made.
And the
Now we
last,
have,
the last part of that is the holiday observation. I think what we have is generous. I received this letter from the Department of Treasury showing their days and what to do if you had things due on that day. So it just made me wonder where we stood. So I looked at, Mercantile Bank, what the bank holidays are. I don't think we necessarily need the general election day. Election offices are open from 7 until 8. You have plenty of time to get there before or after work. I don't necessarily think that, but banks are closed, the postal service is closed, the federal government's closed, and the state government's closed. I thought, maybe we should get in line since we are a government entity. So I guess the only thing I would be adding would be, and it's up to you, MLK Day and President's Day are the only thing that would be different. And so,
what do you mean by different? Different from what we're doing now?
from what we have currently in our personnel manual.
So you're proposing we make these holidays?
Yep, one, both, none, it's up to you, but I thought I'd bring it forward based on this letter from Treasury.
any discussion?
So the only thing different was the
Yeah.
election day.
Yeah, I don't think we need the election day. The only thing different
No,
would be
he's
MLK
adding,
or President's Day.
yeah.
So you wanna take out election day,
Yeah,
right?
take this out of that one and add either MLK, President's
So
Day.
he's adding
one or-
2 holidays.
Adding 2, taking away 1.
No, we don't have the one to take
We
away,
don't.
we're
No,
just
it's just
adding
not
2.
in
From, from this treasury,
Mhm.
yes.
Okay.
Do you hear a motion?
I don't know.
about that.
Diane
Oh.
too.
We could table it, we could even make it that would start next calendar year, just something to consider. When I received the email, it came in as deadlines for Michigan local units, and so I was just, I thought I missed a deadline, I was like, what's going on?
Yeah,
And then you click on it, and it's like, oh, these are their observed holidays, and I thought, well, if they're not,
they're gonna get.
we can't even send them
January,
anything,
another day off in January.
mail's not coming, banks aren't open,
Mhm.
it'd be more of a clerical day, but.
I think I wanna make a motion that we table this and discuss it after we have a chance to look it over. and
Perfect.
I mean, I knew it was in here, but I didn't realize that's what you wanted.
Does
us to do.
anybody,
Yeah,
did
sorry about
anybody get
that.
a second my motion?
I'll second it.
Support,
She seconded.
motion to table this action until next meeting.
Well, we'll do it for the budget, yeah. We'll figure it out.
The budget, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? So tabled. DPW report. What do you got?
You looking at any questions yet?
Oh.
Concerns?
We gotta come up with questions.
I don't see anything on that, however, I was asked to bring to attention, the 12,000 block of Ithaca Road.
Yep.
There's a fire hydrant and the cap is broken, so they cannot use it. They can't use it at
First I
all.
heard of it.
Yep.
Looked at it.
Yep,
All
so,
they gotta do is call.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Call Marguerite and she'll put it,
Yeah.
Jenny, and they'll put it in this order.
Send work order in the morning.
And also, I met with John earlier today, going over that book, and he has weak hydrants and things of that nature. I asked him to give me a better version to get over to the fire department, so I'll be bringing that over as well.
So the lights on the gazebo, are they 24/7?
When they're plugged in, yeah.
Oh, okay, alright.
So you can unplug them.
Well, we just shut them, we shut them off, so. If we don't, no, they're normally, there's no line.
Okay.
They run.
And we haven't had any snow, but do we have the lights still at the top of the sledding hill? I know it kept getting smashed every time we
I have
go.
no idea.
Yeah, I don't even know if it works anymore, but it'd be nice if,
Wait, where?
In case it snows.
yeah, in
Yeah.
case it snows,
Mhm.
but it's black back in there.
It is dark back in
And
there.
if it does snow, they use it more when there is a light, but
Yep.
it gets broke every time. Every time Al would put a light in there, it would get smashed out, so.
Are they smashing it out or limbs and stuff taking?
No,
Yeah,
there's no
okay.
trees, they're just,
Okay.
it's a short pole, and they're just
Oh, they
climbing
can
up.
get to it.
They're just climbing up, standing on the
Okay.
fence and
Yeah,
breaking
usually if
it.
they can reach something.
Yeah, I just wondered if there's something we could do.
We'll take it.
Right now,
Like a
there's,
taller
it's just a
pole?
mud hill, so
Yeah,
taller
it's
pole?
flooded.
Or short defense.
maybe, but they'll find a way. You know, like
Yeah,
a
they
cage
will. Mm-hmm.
around it or something, I don't know.
Yeah, with all the water, that water too.
Yeah, you couldn't even get back in there right now, I don't think. But I was thinking about that, every time we go in there, I mean, you put a new light in, it'd be there for a day and then it'd be gone.
This is totally off the thing, but are they playing golf? There was a bunch of people
You see
back there.
vehicles back there,
Okay.
and so I assume that's what they're
Yeah.
doing.
Okay.
I saw them.
Yeah, I mean like 10 cars were back in
They
there.
do all winter.
Okay, so as long as it's not, do they
Even-
do it in the snow too?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, you'll see a group of vehicles back
that was a
there.
really cheap thing that went well.
yeah.
It was-
It's busy all the
Yeah,
time.
yes.
You got a small but loyal group of people that.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Police department.
Moving on, police department report.
Tell me again what UNK means.
Unknown?
Unknown? I think you told me once, I gotta write that down.
So what are we doing now with the contracts through hiring a full-time officer?
We offered Julie yesterday, for her tremendous work, let her know we appreciate her, and, we are giving her some time while we go through the budget process to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was just yesterday.
Perfect.
Could you repeat that?
We offered a full-time position to Julie yesterday,
Okay.
and mentioned that we're going through the budget process. Would like to budget for her, to be there, and she is taking time to think about it.
Okay.
And as you can see, when she's on, there's reports, there's citations, and there's activity getting done.
Oh, yeah, she definitely.
That's why I like this report. You see her all over town.
Any
too.
further questions on the police department report? Anything you'd like to enlighten us with?
Well, kind of right there, it's been a fairly slow month.
Oh, that would look a little bit ambitious even.
It's just one of them, just one of them, just Julie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I see we're getting off to a roaring start on building permits.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole year. You-
Oh, I know, but I'm looking at this,
This is the one, the electrical.
is there one missing? Do I have one missing?
No.
I like this
Okay.
one.
Yeah, there's
Okay,
one for
what
the
you
whole
got this-
year.
Did you
Yeah, I
get
did get that, yeah.
So, well,
I don't know what I did with it, but I did have it.
Well, it's too cold, that's all I can say.
we need to file those or anything?
Mm-mm.
Just
Chief.
as is.
Those are just recorded.
The incident where Anthony Rolando left the fires, was anything done with that?
He was given a citation for the village, open burn ordinance.
Okay,
And he was fined in Saginaw County Court.
okay.
As per the ordinance, $95, I believe,
Little
10
more
or
than I
15
can
to
find.
us, 25.
Oh, it was a lot more than I can't fire, I was there. And there was 3 of them.
I was gonna say, there were
Bonfire?
3 fires going.
Well,
Why were
I
you
was,
there?
I was with Zach, and we had just left the fire department, and it went out, he's like, so, I'll just go over there, and we're pulling off, and I'm just like, that's huge!
Right.
And there's 3 of them, and they're like 20 foot from his garage. Oh gosh.
Well, it was always stumps and trees that they pulled.
And there's 3 different spots, and they were big.
So I heard now he's buried it.
Pardon?
Now he's buried it. He'll be sorry. I had to dig up stuff I buried before out by the industrial park, yeah.
Okay, old business.
Nothing to report. I will say the closed session, I was hoping to have information regarding ratification of a contract, and nothing back yet. I signed my part.
The water contract? No.
Anything on the grants that, we're looking at?
Nothing new, nothing on the bikes, nothing on the kayaks, nothing on scrap tire.
That's great.
We're looking at new ones through Eagle for more infrastructure dollars. Or maybe we go through them for bonding on some of these projects. They're giving some low interest rate bonds for lead and copper changes, so.
This high water, man, it would be nice to have a kayak launch.
I know.
It would be
It's
great.
happening, it's happening.
I know. Be able to go from Brent to Beach, you know.
Public comment. Anybody still have anything else to say? Okay, motion adjourned.
I'll make a motion.
I'll support.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Wow.
Thank you for